Have you ever caught yourself saying, I'd love to do that, but I am not ready? Maybe it's quitting your job, signing up for that trip, learning something new. We tell ourselves that we're just being practical, but what if it's fear wearing a mask? What if readiness isn't a milestone you reach, but a skill you build by starting anyway? That's what we're going to talk about in this episode. Welcome to the What Could Go Right podcast. We are your hosts, Erik, Orton.
And I'm Emily Orton.
And here we talk about personal growth and sailing. In 2014, we moved aboard a fixer-upper sailboat and bootstrapped a year sailing with our 5 kids, and it changed our lives forever.
We tell the whole story in our memoir, our book, 7 at Sea. On this podcast, we want to help you go from fear to freedom, one adventure at a time.
All right, we're back, and today we're diving into one of the sneakiest stories we tell ourselves, which is, I'm not ready yet. Whether it's travel, a life change, chasing a dream, this is one of the things that helps or causes people to feel stuck. But what if readiness isn't something that you wait for, it's something that you create? We're unpacking that today and sharing some of our own we did it scared moments too.
Why don't you go first? Because you had one the most recently.
Oh man. Well, I don't want to forget to come back to the last episode and talk about that.
Okay.
I think because that's an important one for me. So yesterday I went out to do Lone Peak. And for those of you that are not familiar with Lone Peak in the Rocky Mountains, here in Utah, I drive up and down I-15 and I can see the Wasatch Mountains. And there's this big granite cirque spire thing at the top of Lone Peak. It's just hundreds of feet of beautiful granite cliffs, and I can see it from the freeway. And in the winter, it's just filled with snow. And it's like a little bit of Patagonia and the Alps right here within driving distance of where I live. And it's just been calling to me for years. And Emily is always like, keep your eye on the road. Stop looking over to the mountain. And I'm like,
She's like, oh, Lone Peaks. Everyone see Lone Peak. Who wants to hike Lone Peak with me? And I'm like, we're in traffic.
Anyway, so I've been, wanting to get up there myself. I was like, oh, because there's great rock climbing up there, but it's like an all-day hike in and out. And so you have to go kind of under the right circumstances. And if you're going to rock climb, that means you have to take a lot of extra weight because you're bringing a rope and gear and harnesses and all that sort of stuff. And so committing to do it as a rock climbing outing is like a double whammy. Mm-hmm. And so I'm out climbing with one of my buddies a couple weeks ago. And now that I think about it, that day we were like at the base of the cliff, had our harnesses on, getting roped in, and it starts to rain. It's been like drought here for months. And then like we finally get ready to climb and it starts raining and it's not going to let up. And we've only got a few hours. So we head to the climbing gym for the morning, and I can't remember if I brought it up or if he did, but he's like, hey, how long are you in town? Would you want to go do Lone Peak? And I was like, yeah. And I said, I need to check with Emily, but we could do either this Saturday or that Saturday. Obviously we pinned it down, and I texted him and I said, after I said, hey, I'm in, let's do it. And he said, great. And I said, I have a feeling that I'm about to have my butt kicked pretty hard. And he's like, oh yeah, we're definitely getting our butts kicked hard. I did not have any idea how hard. And I think the week before I was like, well, Emily, I have a week to train. And then I proceeded to do nothing.
I was like, you want to wear my weighted vest? Or he's like, I'll carry a backpack full of rocks. Because we live at 4,500 feet of elevation. And we're in a hilly neighborhood. So, we have some just like training, I guess, built into our everyday lifestyle.
Yeah, when we walk in the morning, we're walking uphill and downhill somewhat.
Yeah.
But we just go in our shorts and t-shirt or whatever. But we're not like carrying any extra weight. Well, at least you wear your weighted vest.
I have a 15 pound vest. But it's not that big of a deal.
So, okay. And the day before we had a little bit of a reunion here with some New York friends, and we were talking about this. And I said, oh yeah, it's going to be type 2 fun. And they all looked at me like, what's type 2 fun? And I was like, you guys don't know about type 2 fun? I was like, type 1 fun is when you do something And while you're doing it, it's fun. Like going to a birthday party or roller skating or watching a movie. Like while you're doing it, it's fun. And then there's type 2 fun, where it's a little bit of suffer and struggle while you're doing it. But when you look back, you have good memories. That's type 2 fun. And I was fully expecting this to be all type 2 fun, 100%. The hike in is 5,500 feet of elevation gain. It's, over like 6 miles in, 5.5 miles in, something like that. And then you climb hundreds of feet of granite cliff for the fun of it. And then you reverse all that. And by this time, the sun is up and it's hot. And the other thing, I was like, hey, Darren's the guy I was climbing with. I was like, hey, Darren, what time do you think we should leave, and how much water should I bring? Because he's been up there a lot. And he's like, well, we should probably, leave around 4:30 a.m., get to the base around 5 o'clock so we can start hiking. We'll get to the base around this time. The sun will still be in the shade. And I was like, oh, great. Okay, so it already sounds fun because I get to wake up at 3:30 a.m. to start this adventure. So not only do I get a couple of really good hours of sleep before I start, then, it's going to be uphill grinding hike to get to this place that I hear is legendary, excellent. And I'm happy to report that there was a lot of type 1 fun. The whole hike in was really, I won't say the whole hike, but I'll say the first half of the hiking was really beautiful. Like it was pre-dawn, cool. The trail was really easy and manageable. You get to these meadows, they call them hemagogues, and just beautiful flat plateaus covered in grass. And there's 2 of them before you kind of break out into this gully that's just got a stream coming down it, but you're kind of scrambling up rocks and slabs. And then you break out of the shade and you're in the sun and you're going up at like 45 degrees, and kind of your morning energy has worn off. So the rest of the hike was maybe a little bit type 2 fun, I have to admit. But we got to the cirque, and it's just, imagine like a granite bowl made out of 500 foot, 600 foot tall cliffs with grass and little snowfields here and there because all the snow still hasn't melted. And there's flowers, purple, yellow, red, just gorgeous kind of everywhere. And then you get on these, at least for me, it's fun. You get on these routes that are like splitter granite with great quality rock, and they're super vertical, but not overhanging. Like you can't hold on vertical, and, just bluebird, clear skies, and a breeze and these incredible views you could see all the way out to the Great Salt Lake. And so I was definitely having type 1 fun while I was climbing. I'm taking way too long to tell this story.
Yeah, I mean,
sorry.
Indulge. Like this was a glorious moment that you really worked for.
Anyway, on the way down, I'm starting to feel lightheaded and nauseous and queasy and all the things. And I'm like trying to hydrate, but I feel bloated, and I feel like I want to puke, but I can't eat anything. I'm trying, I need nourishment. I need hydration. I don't know if I'm got altitude sickness or heat exhaustion or just general exhaustion, because I'm working my body real hard.
You were up at 11,000 feet.
And we're at 11,000 feet. And I think the trick is the thing that I need to do to prepare next time is do what Darren did. And he has a job where he works at 9,000 feet. And so
you're like, wait, I work at sea level.
I literally work at sea level, and he works at 9,000 feet. So I'm going to say that he's got a little bit of an edge on me because he's really strong. He's really talented. He's a skilled climber. And I'm just grateful that sometimes he, lets me tag along. But anyway, he was very patient, and we stopped, and I kind of soaked my head in the stream and sipped water. He gave me one of his trekking poles. And I kind of about halfway, 2/3 of the way down, started to get my strength back, my equilibrium. And we made it down before sunset, but it was a long day. 5-hour hike in, 3.5, 4 hours of rock climbing, 5-hour hike out. And I was pretty depleted.
Yeah. And the point of the story is about readiness. You just went.
Yeah. The point of the story is I was not ready. I was so not ready, but I'm so glad that I went. And I'll say that now I know better how to be ready the next time. or at least know what to expect. And if I want to go with the same level of readiness, I know what I can expect the outcome to be.
I love that. You talked about readiness being a skill that we can build, or readiness being a state that we create. And we often can't create that before we dig into the goal, to the project. We become ready as we're doing it. I felt that way 100% with homeschooling. We homeschooled our 5 kids across 17 years. And I've heard a lot of people say, oh, I would love to homeschool, but I just don't have the patience for it. And I'm just thinking to myself, yeah, you don't get that kind of patience until you start doing the homeschooling. No, nobody starts with that patience. It's like, oh, I would love to be an Olympic swimmer, but I'm just not strong enough.
What was the thing that our friend Ray said to you years ago about
Oh,
dancing?
yeah. I said, oh, I had taken ballet as a young child, like under 6. And
And he's like a
he's a
choreographer.
professional choreographer, and he was visiting us. And I said something like, oh, I love dance, but I just, I don't have a dancer's body. So I did not pursue dance. And he said, if you danced, you would have a dancer's body. And I was like, smackdown.
Coming to your house.
Okay, welcome to my house. Yeah, it was very.
Can I offer you some dessert?
It was true.
Yeah.
Right? Like if I was out there dancing, then the muscles form to accommodate the tasks that we put them through on repeat. So patience cultivates. And when you're doing it on repeat, and I think you said your friend Darren actually, yes, he works at 9,000 feet. He also trail runs. Like,
I was like, why do you trail run? Why would you do that to yourself? He's like, well, I want to be able to move fast through the mountains.
yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I don't know if that's a good enough reason for me.
Right. And then
But
you just decide, like, what is it worth to you? But yeah, it's like you're not going to be ready until you start doing the thing that you're trying to get ready for. I guess I would say a lot of that is the same for just relationships and the different seasons of relationship. It's like, oh, surprise, new season in your relationship. Well, you're not ready for this because you haven't experienced this before. And now is the time that you're going to learn how to do it.
okay, so a couple of key points for this
Mm-hmm.
episode. One is feeling ready is a myth that we tell ourselves to delay action and that we actually get ready by starting.
Yeah.
So there's that one. Two is clarity comes from movement, not waiting. And I think we actually have talked about this over a long period of time. To take it to a sailing metaphor, it is impossible to steer a boat that is not moving.
Mm-hmm.
If a boat is sitting still, no matter how far to one way or the other you turn the rudder, that boat will not turn.
Mm-hmm.
The slightest bit of movement, the slightest bit of momentum is what gives you the ability to steer.
Yeah.
That is what allows you to steer a boat. Then you can go left or right. There's a term in sailing called being in irons. And what that means is the boat is pointed straight into the wind and you cannot sail a boat straight into the wind. And so you can't, and then when you can't sail the boat, you can't steer it. And so that means in irons is like you're trapped, you're a prisoner. But if you can get your boat to turn ever so slightly off the wind and you can get your sails set right, you can start moving. And it may not be the exact direction you want to go, but then with that little bit of movement, you can steer. And once you're out of irons, so to speak, you can make headway.
Yeah.
And I think this idea, these stories we tell ourselves of, oh, I'm not ready yet, that's how we put ourselves in irons. We just say, well, there's nothing I can do.
Yeah, there's nothing I can do. I'm not ready. There's this movie, this kids movie called Onward. And all you have to know is there's this scene where there's an older brother and a younger brother, and they're driving this car. And the younger brother isn't a very good driver, but he has to be the one who's driving. And
they're both teenagers,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, like older teenager, younger teenager. And the older brother is like saying, we have to get on the freeway. And the younger brother is saying, I'm not ready. Like, I've never merged into traffic before, and it's going so fast, and this is really scary. I'm just not ready for it. And the older brother says, you'll never be ready. Merge. And he like kind of
Grabs the wheel.
grabs the wheel and kind of makes it so the car has to go into traffic and the little brother just has to deal with it. And it's true. It's like, how are you going to be ready to merge if you've never merged before? It's one of the things you have to do it to learn how to do it.
Chicken or the egg.
Yeah. And so anyway, we say that periodically in our home. It's like, you'll never be ready. Merge.
That's true.
Just go for it. I don't want to forget, you wanted to come back to the story about kind of a going scared moment, maybe an abbreviated version related to the business we had been trying to buy.
Yeah. So if you go back to the previous episode, one of the things that we were talking about is buying a business. We don't feel ready to buy a business. We've never done it before. We are pretty sure that we have made a lot of mistakes in the process. And if we were to buy the business, we'd be making a lot more mistakes along the way. And that's just the nature of it. But I am proud of us for going for it. And it didn't work out. It didn't go the way we wanted. And, we're still fine. We're healthy. We're alive. No limbs were lost. No bones were broken. A little bit of money was spent. Maybe a lot of money was spent, depending on how you look at it. But man, I feel like I learned so much, and I feel so ready to try again. I feel so ready for whatever the next version of that looks like. And so, this not being ready thing can happen in a lot of ways. I don't want to nudge into our kids' personal lives, but each of them is exploring, in their relationships. One of our daughters just had a baby. Another one of our daughters is,
that's 2 grandkids for us.
In case you're keeping track, 2 grandkids. And one of our kids is in a really meaningful relationship, and that's new territory. And so this applies at any stage of life. It can happen. And my parents are going through this. Some of the things that they're tackling with health and being at the stage of life that they're in.
Love in your 80s.
Love in your 80s. And so nobody's ready for their 80s until they get in their 80s. Mm-hmm. And nobody's ready for their 50s until you get into their 50s. And we do our best. And you can prepare. I'm not trying to say, you don't have to shoot yourself in the foot purposefully.
Yeah, you can think about your future self, but there will be surprises.
Yeah, that if you haven't seen the movie Dan Real Life, starring Steve Carell and Juliette Binoche, it's one of the Orton family favorites.
It's a practically perfect screenplay if you care about that sort of thing.
And I'm just going to tell you about the closing line. I'm going to spoil it for you. And it basically is, prepare to be surprised.
That doesn't spoil the movie.
Hopefully that doesn't spoil the movie for you, but it's just... But
there are surprises. Now you know.
Yeah. We don't want to ruin it for you, but there will be plot twists in this story. So prepare to be surprised. And I think that as each of us go on our journeys and we have our expectations and our hopes and our dreams, we're never going to be ready. We should go anyway. Ready is a myth. You become ready by beginning. Mm-hmm. Movement brings clarity. It also gives you the ability to navigate. And also, I want to say this about, you don't have to leap alone. We didn't really get into this, but I want to share a couple of quick examples. Mm-hmm. For example, you and I decided to start a podcast. We did it together. Mm-hmm. It's made it in some ways harder, because working with people is always harder, but having each other to lean on, I think, makes it easier.
Because then we can take up different tasks. Mm-hmm.
And I remember... I've mentioned Body Soul in an episode or a few episodes back. She'd never left the country, and she really wanted to go on one of our sailing trips. She was nervous. She'd never traveled without being with other family members, and
she'd never traveled internationally.
She'd never been outside the country before, and so she teamed up with her friend Lisa, and the two of them came together. And Lisa, big-hearted Lisa, flew from Idaho to Florida to meet her. So that they could fly together. And so if you're going to take a risk, maybe consider finding a traveling buddy to go with you. You can do things on your own for sure, but if it helps and you can line it up, find somebody to take that risk together with you. That's why artists collaborate. That's why business leaders have business partners. That's why husbands have wives and wives have husbands. And
Yeah,
and
you're not alone, and you have somebody to be accountable to. You're like, oh, they're going to be checking in.
yeah, and you can have roommates or friends or just, people in your community. You don't have to do it alone. And that's one way of making it easier, because it's impossible for us to be fully prepared. But when we have somebody to share the load with, it makes it easier. So, um, anything else before we wrap up, Emily? And I'm happy to do the wrapping up.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. We covered everything we wanted to say.
Okay. So, dear listener, please say your dream out loud to somebody, message a friend, look up that trip, start that application, book the call, do one tiny thing that will give you the movement, the momentum that will allow you to navigate to what you want. Readiness is a myth, but getting started is going to help you become ready, and that's what you want. And as you start, please ask yourself, what could go right? Hey guys, it's Erik. Before we wrap up today, I want to go over the sailing update. For those of you that are interested in sailing with us, I want you to know what is available. So, we do have a few spots left for 2025, and then we've also got a bunch of trips to announce for 2026. So, buckle up. There's a few to run through here. Our Greece trip, which is happening in later July, is sold out. So, that one is now no longer available. And our Croatia trip, I think, is also sold out. People have said they're going to send me deposits today as of this recording. So I think that one is sold out. If you're interested, check in with me. Just hit me a DM, send me a DM, or email me at erik@theawesomefactory.nyc, and we can let you know what's available there. However, we do have some cabins available for our October trip, Mexico, La Paz. Beautiful, one of my favorite places to go. You should listen to our podcast episode a couple back where we talk about why it's the most underrated, but most beautiful, one of the most beautiful trips we do. So October 20th through the 25th, we'll be in La Paz, Mexico. Then in November, we've got one spot in our BVI trip for a female spot, November 10th through the 15th. Again, I think that one's gonna fill up. There's lots of people looking at that. And December 8th through the 13th, we're in the Bahamas. 1.5 cabins, one full cabin plus a female spot. Again, we've got a few folks interested in that, but at the moment, as of this recording, those are available. So if you want to go sailing with us in 2025, those are your options. And now for 2026, if you need to look further out, here you go. British Virgin Islands, January 5th through the 10th. You'll fly in and out of St. Thomas. We're going to be back again a few weeks later, January 26th through the 31st. So 2 chances to sail in the BVI in January. Hopping over February to March, we're going to go to French Polynesia. It's an amazing place. I haven't been there since 2017, so a number of years. It's a fantastic trip. Not going to lie, it's by far the most expensive trip. It's going to be a one-way from an island called Raiatea out to Bora Bora. So you fly to Tahiti, get a hopper over to Raiatea. We're going to sail over to Bora Bora, and then we fly back from there home. So we're not going to be doing this one again for quite a while. So if you're interested in that, March 8th through the 14th, French Polynesia. We are back in the Bahamas, April 13th through the 18th. This time we're going to go to the Abacos, which is different than where we normally go. So it's going to be a pretty special trip, and I'm excited about that. That wraps up our spring. In the summer, we jump back over to the Med. In June, we're going to be back in Italy, Naples, repeating the trip that we did this year. So fun, so beautiful. June 6th through the 13th. Then in July 11th through the 18th, we will be in Greece. We'll sail in and out of Athens. And then in August 1st through the 8th, we're going to go to Croatia again. So, and then, not spoiler alert, but special bonus feature in September 26th, 2026, we're going to go to Italy for a second time, September 12th through the 19th. It's the shoulder season. All the kids are back in school. Most of the tourists have taken off, but the weather is still gorgeous. So there's 2 chances to go to Italy. BVI in January, French Polynesia in March, Bahamas in April, Italy in June, Greece in July, Croatia in August, and then Italy again in September. So if any of those are of interest to you, email us. I'll give the correct email. hello@theawesomefactory.nyc. theawesomefactory.nyc. And that way, me and the folks that help me out will see that. and we'll get you information. Or if you want to ping me on social media, you can DM us and we'll get you details. But if any of those are interest, would love to see if having you aboard is a good fit. So that is the sailing update. Thanks. Okay, so last question. If somebody you knew was thinking about coming out, what would you say to them, or if you have any advice for them?
I would say it's really cool. We've done a lot of traveling on land, but not so much on water. So I thought it was really cool to see. It's just a whole different perspective to see the land from the water rather than being on the land looking out at the sea. So I really love that. So anyway, it's just a different way to travel, fun experience, definitely a good way to just chill and get away from everything and I don't know, just relax and have a good time.